use of equipment after calibration, the next major concept is maintenance. This is also called MQ or maintenance qualification. So, what is MQ? MQ is a broad term used in the process used to describe and document the regular maintenance and repair of the equipment. It ensures that the equipment is operated to give accurate results and to avoid downtime. Every MQ starts with a maintenance plan. A maintenance plan should include preventive maintenance procedures, inventory management, troubleshooting, and repair of the equipment. When I say inventory management, it's mostly about the spare parts inventory that we are talking about. For each piece of equipment, establish a routine maintenance plan to include the frequency of all maintenance tasks, daily, weekly, and monthly, 3 monthly as needed, etc. Training should be given for all authorized maintenance steps. Never attempt unauthorized maintenance steps. These are all key concepts, and this part should be a part of the training generally given to the technicians as an equipment is installed, and it is part of the OQ or the operational qualifications. However, to keep it going is entirely the responsibility of the laboratory. Depending upon factors such as workload, types of instrumentation, and number of employees, a record or a check sheet or of such activities must be adopted for any given equipment in the laboratory. And it's important that the laboratory management tracks these tasks just to make sure that things are getting done. The documentation of maintenance is a very, very important aspect. And that's what we were talking about. And hope that is clear now. So, maintenance qualification starts with the maintenance plan, and that maintenance plan has to be developed as the equipment arrives in the laboratory, and this has to be developed as part of the OQ, and it has to be carried out, implemented. Just establishing it is not enough, it has to be implemented, and it has to be documented in the specific formats designed for the purpose. So we just will show you a few formats or maintenance logs for a few different equipment here. Such formats have to be developed for all equipment used in the laboratory. This is a format for the daily maintenance of a particular equipment. There are about 30 days which are depicted. Since it is a daily event, there are 31 entries. Each activity has to be done on a daily basis. The first one says execute shutdown. The next says check the trap chamber, and so on. So all these things will be done, and after the technician does it, it has to be checked off with a check mark and it has to be signed. So that's how you evidence that you have done your daily maintenance. I hope that is clear. Again, weekly maintenance, there are 4 weeks in a month, maybe 5 Mondays. So every Monday to every Monday, there are certain tasks to be done which will be done and checked off. Then following that, there will be monthly maintenance schedules, and everything should be documented. And here there's another example of an equipment cleaning and decontamination format. Please look at the components of it. There's a sample autoclave format for a biosafety cabinet operation format, pre-operational checklist, sampled equipment training log, etc. Training logs are also very important. And so every aspect of the equipment management has to be logged, formatted, and everything should be recorded. So this is a very important aspect of documentation of your equipment, that of your maintenance plan, that every maintenance aspect. So now you have to now look at the documentation once again. You have started your documentation at the very beginning. and you're carrying it on through every step. Now that we are in maintenance, we are talking about formats for maintenance at every kind of maintenance, including the training in equipment maintenance. So now we'll go a little more into the maintenance plan. We already talked about the formatting activities, and maintenance plan should also include function checks, which include monitoring of instrument parameters periodically, daily, weekly, and monthly. Some of the function checks have been shown in this picture, like incubation temperature, wavelength calibration, autoclave temperature chart. All these are function checks. So this also should be monitored and documented as required. And the third part of your maintenance plan should be your spare parts inventory. We already talked about it. This should include the routine maintenance of spare parts in the training. This to understand what parts can be replaced and how. The technician should know that an inventory should be maintained for this. We have talked about this in the first video also. Spare part inventorization, understanding how to change parts which are authorized. This is a very helpful thing. Staff should be trained, and this will considerably reduce downtime if your laboratory staff are adequately trained on doing this. And now that we have a plan for maintenance, you have to now implement the plan. This is again a very important step. Not making the plan is not just enough, the implementation should be done. So, establishing a plan is the first part, and implementing it is the next and the key step for the maintenance qualification, for which you have to assign responsibilities and develop written policies and procedures. You have to maintain records and training of staff, of course. All of them are very, very key aspects of your implementation of your maintenance plan. Assigning responsibility. Generally, it is assumed that the frontline staff responsibility is for the person who is authorized to do the work, the equipment, or his deputy. But periodic checking should be done by the quality manager or whoever has a higher authority. There should be written policies and procedures about who is going to do what and up to what level, and how do you escalate a process if there is a breakdown. All these should be clearly mentioned in your procedure. Records, as I said, should be maintained for everything that is done, and staff should be trained to maintain records also. So, training of the staff is coming back again and again as the key concept. I have already talked about schedule of your maintenance, especially with reference to your authorized maintenance. We should also know about maintenance that is done by the technical support team. Let's call this scheduled maintenance, or sometimes it's also called preventive maintenance by the technical support team. So, how is that different from what you are doing in the laboratory? So, let's say that in addition to the daily maintenance, such schedule should be available for inspections and repair by the manufacturer's technical support team. This preventive maintenance is defined as a plan of scheduled inspections of equipment and instruments, resulting in minor adjustments or repairs for the purpose of delaying and avoiding major repairs and emergency or premature replacements. This kind of preventive maintenance is a very useful part of your equipment management and should be made available for all your equipment. If the laboratory has an annual or a comprehensive maintenance contract with the equipment manufacturer or with third parties, or if the equipment is under warranty, this becomes very easy to avail. And please see this diagram here. On the y-axis is the cost, and on the x-axis there are three components: reactive maintenance, preventive maintenance, and predictive maintenance. In the case of reactive maintenance, you will wait for the equipment to break down as you're not availing any AMC or CMC, and then the repair cost, as you see, is very high. If you are looking at the predictive maintenance, you are replacing parts regardless of whether it has to be done or not at a certain time period, and that again becomes very high cost intensive. But if you look at the middle, there are these cost lines which are crossing each other. So that means this is the best option. The preventive maintenance is your best option to cut cost and to as well as prolong life of the equipment. I hope that concept is clear. So, routine service and maintenance should be scheduled at regular predefined intervals so as to ensure uninterrupted workflow. This is assuming that you have a valid contract with your equipment manufacturer or a third party. The laboratory must have a documented process and maintain logs for preventive maintenance. Very important again, documentation. The schedule for equipment maintenance and calibration need to be prepared in advance as per the manufacturer's instructions and circulated among all laboratory staff so that the same can be rigorously adhered to. Preventive maintenance provides the following advantages over breakdown maintenance. We already saw the diagram, just to reiterate, because it helps in giving you quality assured results, reduced breakdown and hence higher productivity, timely identification and replacement of components showing excessive wear and tear. So while they examine, they see something is not correct and something is getting worn out, the technical support team will change those parts. It's not a predictive maintenance, it's actually a preventive maintenance. So this certains greater safety, lowers repair costs, and it prolongs the instrument lifetime, and it also reduces your downtime. So now we have to move on to your next concept, and before that we would like to just recap about the maintenance part. We have talked about maintenance. We've talked about two kinds of maintenance here. One is the maintenance by authorized, you doing the authorized maintenance steps by the laboratory staff in a scheduled way, daily, weekly, monthly, or as required. And there are other maintenance steps which are not authorized to the laboratory, so let's call them unauthorized maintenance steps. This can be done only by the technical support team, so that those have to be scheduled in a certain way as per the recommendation of the manufacturer itself. Okay, I hope that is clear. Authorized steps done by the laboratory as per the schedule of the manufacturer, again as per the requirement of that machine and how much it is used, and depending on that, and other preventive scheduled maintenance which is done by the technical support team. For those steps which require certain inputs from the technical support team, because there are certain parts which will not be accessible, for those you will have to call the technical support team to come in, and so that they can do the preventive maintenance on this scheduled basis. This is like generally maybe a 3 monthly, some equipment may have 6 monthly. So you have to look at the manufacturer's instructions, and while you are making your MQ, both these are important. Authorized maintenance step by your frontline staff and unauthorized maintenance steps by your technical support team in a scheduled manner. So that is your MQ. And after MQ, we come to another vital concept which is all